clock. I don't know if that clock's slow. Is it slow, you think? 5.
Yeah.
5 minutes? I got 5 minutes.
Yep.
No, I'm at 5.
Okay, we good. We want to get started because I want to give our guest tonight a opportunity to present. He and I just want to clear up, he and I have been good friends for a long time, and he came to me, I think we've been talking about this about 6 months now, and before we want to present to the council, I want to make sure that he was ready to go, and I think now that he is ready to go. So I'm going to turn it over to him because I want to give him as much time that he's need. Mr. Michael Allen, and then the construction guy, again, what's his name? Yeah, okay. I'll let you introduce him also. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else need a copy? You have a few more. Again, my name is Michael Allen. I'm with Youth Basketball of America. I definitely appreciate your time this afternoon. Again, Michael Allen, Youth Basketball of America. What that means, when you think of basketball and you think of AAU in terms, Youth Basketball of America, we run basketball events throughout the year. What I'm looking for is a partnership with Irondale to look at building a multiplex facility. This would be used for basketball, volleyball, futsal, indoor archery, wrestling, gymnastics, cheer, ballroom, dancing. This is what we're looking for. Today, my understanding is that Irondale does not have a real youth program. What we want to do is we want to bring this to the city of Irondale to be a staple to show that we are here for the youth of Irondale. So if you go to the second page, where the first question I would ask is, how are we going to fill this facility? Currently, I'm running events for the last 10 years, anywhere from 50 teams to 200 teams. My state tournament has 180 plus teams. That's been the average for the last 5 years. And we run a super qualifier that is for our national tournament, which is in Orlando. And this here states 50 to 200 teams, 800 to 3,000 attendees. What I do today is I partner with high schools, colleges, churches, community centers, and that's how I use facilities today. Shades Valley, Coach Howard, we use that facility pretty much every weekend through our season. They've been a great partner to us. This coming up year, we're going to talk about using Grantswood and some other facilities here in Irondale. But any gym, any school in Birmingham, Hoover, Pelham, Alabaster, I use all those gyms. So I have a lot of advocates, and what we're hoping to do is have a central hub for, 5-court facility for our basketball tournaments, league play, camps throughout the year. And that's what we're looking for. The next page talks about the community impact of it. This would become a tourism destination for event organizers, athletes, coaches, families to enjoy all the local amenities of the city of Irondale. The partnership with our new mixed-use facility would be the catalyst to increase bad tax revenue, sales taxes, and create additional revenue streams to all the area businesses in the city of Irondale. Of course, I've known John for 10 plus years. He was real close with my brother, passed away at 41 years old 10 years ago. John has been a part of YBOA with the tournaments that we put on. He knows that we're growing every year. We have a foundation. It's not something that a one-hit wonder where they're coming in to run an event. This is something that's already a foundation that we're just looking for a true hub to have the majority of our groups, 5-court facility, plus the Shades Valley, 2 courts, Grantswood, the community center next door. That's the kind of things we're looking for. This potential revenue, I've worked with Tanya Watley for years in the Visitor Bureau. I've worked with the Visitor Bureau in Orlando with our hub, with our home office. And this is an example, if we can pull this off with 26 weeks, today I run 20 weeks out of 52. We definitely think we can pull off 26 plus weeks. And this here talks about the 200 room nights per weekend, 100 rooms times 2 nights, 26 weekends, 5,200 rooms times $6. That $6 tax is kind of the number that we continue to hear from our visitor bureaus. So this talks about the bed tax, and then it talks about the attendees. Each team has 12 players, 3 coaches, and it talks about how many guests would come in, the economic impact, how much money they spend. And again, the dollars here, do you need a copy? I'm sorry. Okay, but if you do, I can get you a copy. But this kind of goes off of what the visitor bureaus go off of when they talk about how much money a student brings in while they're spending their weekend playing basketball. So over the course of a year, you're looking at over $7 million in economic impact. This does not include the taxes off of hotels, gas, food, and additional gas spending is not included in this format here. The next page talks about the facility. We're looking at 40,000 square foot. 40,000 square foot, 5 courts for basketball. Of course, volleyball, you can add another 4 or 5 courts. And then, of course, you have pickleball and other things that you can host here as well. With a down payment of $400,000 to $500,000. The overall price, because of steel and other things that's gone up this last year, you're looking at this cost being a little bit over $4 million. I think it's 4.2 is the last dollar amount we've looked at. But again, this is designed to primarily host state, regional, national sporting events for basketball, volleyball, futsal, pickleball, and other indoor sports. Today, Youth Basketball of America has been around for 30 plus years. Today, their national tournament is in Orlando, Florida, a little bit south in Winter Haven. They've already branched out for their girls' nationals. They've been in Dalton, they've been in Biloxi. They are looking to come to Birmingham in either 2023 or 2024, and then the boys will start traveling as well. Today, they're having these discussions with the Finley Center, and I'm trying to get in front of that and have our facility built by January 2023 so we can start hosting these type of national events in our city. In Irondale, for our clientele and the advocates, business partners that I work with today, Irondale is perfect. We host teams all over Birmingham, Pelham, Mountain Brook, everywhere. Irondale is a prime spot. I have driven all over this city. I've made plenty of phone calls. I know John kind of mentioned the Roughner Park baseball fields, but outside of that, Old Lee's Road's got 35 acres over by the new Publix where it's going in. Up the hill where Old Sam's is, there's plenty of land there as well. We want this in Irondale for our clients and for our business partners. Next picture shows kind of the facility, what we, Google and Facebook is an amazing tool. So I go out and I start looking at other facilities out there in the country or whatnot, and we found this location in Colorado. Actually, Kenny with Costin Constructions, he went to this facility. We're getting the floor prints, or the architect gave the drawings for it, and we want to model this from the courts in Colorado. So if you really wanted to look at the pictures of this facility, it's the courts in Colorado, and it's 4 courts. We're looking at doing 5 because our average number of teams is 60 to 70, and that's kind of what we're looking at here. Next picture is showing the entrance, and then of course the layout of the 5 courts. If you've ever been in a basketball tournament, an event like this, the one thing you want to do is you want to make it very efficient. You want to make it where you can get in and out. You don't want a lot of people hovering around the whole weekend. So what we try to do is we want to make this where you literally come in, and when you finish your game, you leave, go to Golden Rule, go to Jack's, go to McDonald's, Hamburger Heaven, eat your lunch, and then come back for your second, third games. So you can see the drawings. It's a very efficient layout. There's not a lot of wasted space here. You literally come in, play your sport, play what we're doing, and leave and visit the city. Because any question, I know I've talked a lot, I've shared a lot of information. I'm looking for a partnership from Irondale. I've met with a few others, Bessemer, Pelham, met with some other cities. Irondale, from the relationship that John and I have, and just visiting this area. A lot of my advocates already use Iron City Hoops, already comes to Irondale Community Center for their practices, Magic City Jayhawks. I mean, there's groups already familiar with this area. They run leagues, they run camps. We want these people to come to Irondale for their practices instead of going to Sanford and Birmingham Southern and these other places to have their events or their practices. Questions?
I have one
Counsel,
question.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Do you have a multiplex facility arrangement with any other municipality?
No.
So we would be the first.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry for being
Yes.
late. So you said 35 acres, so 35 acres is
No.
enough space.
5 acres.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's 35 acres up on Leeds Road.
So
I just need 5.
if you found 5 acres, that'd be enough for a large, I think you said 5-court facility
40,000
and
square
parking.
feet. Yes, sir. This facility would host right at 1,000 people. Of course, Kenny's been doing construction for a long time, so we've already done the drawing as far as making sure we have enough parking, those type of things. But that 40,000 square foot, 5 acres would be perfect for it.
Sir, when you say partnership, what exactly are you expecting that
I'm
partnership
looking-
to look
I'm
like?
looking for donations.
Okay.
I mean,
Got it.
Really, I'm looking for donations. You're talking about $4 million. You're talking about $400,000 or $500,000 down payment. I am truly looking for donations. I know that, Montgomery's got a multiplex. You walk in there, you got, Crampton, Bully got all kind of sponsorships. They got all kind of advertisement in that building. I know that Irondale is up and coming. You're building the new Publix. Amazon's right down the street. I know it's Birmingham, but you have a lot of businesses here. You got all the dealerships. I mean, there's people out there that would, let's say one court's $100,000 with hardwood floors. There's people willing to put, Mercedes Benz on a half court, just for the advertisement side. So getting out in front of the city, getting out in front of the public to truly show what we're bringing to the city is what I'm looking for. I'm definitely comfortable with $2 to $3 million. I mean, that's kind of the number that I've already met with People's Bank twice. I've already my CPA. I've been doing this for 10 years, so we have a true foundation. Again, it's not like a one-hit tournament coming in. We do this 16 weeks a year. Very fruitful. So, if that answers your question.
Yes, sir, it did. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else got another question? Go ahead.
YBO, is this a nonprofit or for-profit?
We are not a nonprofit.
Okay.
I deal with nonprofits, so just to give you a little background of what I do. I'm an event coordinator, okay? I'm not a basketball, genius like John Loudon is, but my brother was a basketball guy. He coached high school basketball, he coached AAU, he was a basketball guy. And I was alongside of him, helping him run gyms. And again, 10 years ago, 41 years old, he gets terminal cancer and passes away at 6 months. So I literally inherited this from him and just trying to carry on his legacy. We run a John Allen tip-off, we run, events to, but my skill is, I've spent 29 years in banking. Central Bank, Commerce Bank, BBVA, now PNC. I've been a banker for 30 years. And my goal would be for my next 10 to 15 years of my career is to do what I really love to do, and that is dealing with the public, dealing with the youth, and running these type of events. So a little bit of a foundation, a little bit of background on what we do.
Any other questions from the council? Well, from my own personal experience and dealing with YBOA and having 3 kids that played and traveled all over the country, different cities, and Mayor Stewart can even attest to this because his son we ruin a lot of cars driving them down the highway, traveling with our children, watching them play basketball. But the economic impact, and I know this is just a guesstimate figure that we're talking about, the city of Irondale, but those are real numbers. The economic impact that things like this have for city and the hotels and the restaurants, gas tax, all of that, those are real numbers because, reason I know they're real numbers because I spent that kind of money traveling all over the country. I spent hotel fees, I spent gas and spent food into those cities. And so those are numbers that we should get excited about. And he's looking for a partnership, and we want to be a good partner. This is something, and going with our mayor's plan, building community, this is a great opportunity to help build community in this city. And I think, and I hope that the council as excited as I am with it and try to do what we can. Because we've been talking and talking about different things. We thought Roughner was a good spot. Found out in order for them to build that, we have to sell it. But in order to sell 5 acres over there, it's got to be devoted to people. So we're just having so many roadblocks going back and forth because that would have been a perfect spot for this facility. Just talking to our attorney, bouncing things off of her. We're right now at the council stressing as far as how can we help Michael push this forward for our city because I'm telling you it's going to benefit. We've heard youth sports. When is our youth sports coming back? Well, here it is. Here's an opportunity for it to come back. And not only come back, but come back better than it's ever been. Better than it's ever been. And not just basketball. And that's what I like about it. We're not just talking about basketball. We're talking about youth sports. We're talking about cheerleading. We're talking about volleyball. We're talking about pickleball and futsal. You don't know what, you got to go Google futsal. I didn't know what it was, but you got to go Google it. It's pretty neat. So he's talking about senior citizen dance parties or whatever. All of those things he's talking about in Irondale. So I'm excited about it, and I just want to make sure that we get excited about it as a council and try to help and push this project forward. You may have some ideas that we didn't think about. You may have some thoughts that I didn't think about, and we would love to hear those. I would love to hear those thoughts, and the mayor and our council would love to hear those thoughts of how we could get it pushed forward. Yes.
I played basketball growing up. My oldest son did the travel soccer thing, so I understand travel and spending all the money in different towns that were not here for years and years. Just to go back to the partnership, so is the idea it would be a city facility that was leased? Or, I guess there's 1,000 ways to make it happen.
I'm open, yes, sir. I'm open to those things. Me going into this, coming in, I'm willing to put up the majority of this. But I do want it to be a partnership. I want to make sure that's very clear. I mean, because I know the economic impact that we can bring in. And I can go chase, heads and beds. I know that kind of stuff is very important. And I can come back to the city and say, these are the numbers we're bringing in. Sometimes you'll write checks, because of that revenue you're bringing in. But, we've thrown a few things out there, land leases, figuring out a price on a land lease where we can just come in and clean the land out and start building. As far as a partnership goes, it's up in the air. I mean, it truly is up in the air. I mean, again, what I'm looking for is donations because I know the revenue that I'm bringing into a city, wherever this is going to be. I've kind of slowed down for a few months, and I've kind of pushed John because I really want this building to be built by January 2023. I mean, that's the dates that we have. The building in itself is going to take 6 to 9 months because of all the issues with building and other things. But I'm looking for donations, and that's what I'm really looking for. Advertisements, getting in front of your businesses out there because I don't know those people. Seeing what they're willing to put up for this.
I think it's a great idea. I think it'll, like you said, it'll bring people into Irondale, and I think that's important.
I have 9 years by myself, 12 years with my brother. I have history here. I mean, when I tell you I'm running tournaments this is in a weekend. I go from Center Point to Fairfield to Midfield to Hoover. Like these poor teams are driving around the city getting to their gym that they're playing in. So to have 5 courts here in this facility, Shades Valley, I mean, again, what a great partner they've been. I mean, Dr. Evans and Coach Howard, I mean, they've opened their doors pretty much every weekend for us. And they're working on the community center and working for Grants Wood. We could truly have 9 courts in Irondale in itself, where that's the majority of my tournaments. They go from 9, my state tournament, I run about 22 to 23 courts. Some people ask me, Michael, why don't you deal with Hoover Finley Center? And the reason I don't work with Hoover Finley Center that often, they got 11 courts if you didn't know, because of the expense. What Michael does is when he runs an event, he subs this tournament out as a fundraiser. So if John London has 10 teams in his organization or 5 teams, I let him run that tournament that weekend as a fundraiser. Okay? So what that does is that builds a relationship with his event, his organization, build one with your organization, where you continue to come back to YBOA. I mean, I think that's when I tell you I'm an event coordinator, that's what I do. I do the scheduling, I do the collecting money, like I do the front end part, but these teams and organizations come in and they run that tournament through the weekend, and I pay them a game fee, where instead of them washing cars, selling donuts, they're working a basketball tournament for YBOA. So that's how we've really grown this last 10 years, is partnering with these organizations. I know you said soccer, but I mean Burn Blaze, Hoop Squad, Magic CJ, these teams run tournaments for us. They're not going anywhere because they can't run events and have these kind of fundraisers anywhere else, because this is where they want to be as well. I mean, they want to be in a gym. This is what they love. This is what they're doing. So instead of going and knocking on doors, run a tournament. So again, I'm really proud of the foundation, because again, I've talked to other people. These one-hit wonder tournaments come in. The BJCC runs a tournament once a year, but we're doing this 16 to 20 weeks a year already, with these tournaments coming into BJCC or coming into the Finley Center. These are more for those exposure type of kids that are looking for that next level. My focus is on 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, where grandmamas come, aunt and uncles come. Everybody's coming to those tournaments where those 9th, 10th, 11th grade kids, we all know they can drive themselves. They all pile in a van and they go. My focus, Youth Basketball of America, is youth. I mean, we're talking 3rd, 4th, 5th. That's my heaviest numbers. So appreciate your time. I mean, again, if you have questions, John can get back with me. I'm ready to roll. I mean, I'm ready to move forward. And this is something that I've been passionate about for a couple of years. Like I said, I met with Bessemer a couple months ago. They love the thought, love the idea, but I keep coming back to Irondale, not just because of John and I's relationship, but right off of 20, right off of 459. I mean, I give Irondale a lot of credit. You don't hear about crime. There's a lot of good attributes, got a lot of good thoughts when you think about Irondale as well. Growing surroundings. Any other questions? Thank you for your time. Good.
Yeah, you're good. All right, Mike, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Yes, sir. And we'll have a conversation tomorrow. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. All right, to move on forward, the second thing also that we were going to talk about tonight was, and Council Spire, I'm just going to let you go ahead and talk about it. You and I have a discussion about it. So let you have that discussion.
Sure, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So this was an idea that, were you raising here?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, do you have a question or anything? I'm sorry. Let me pause.
Sure.
I forgot. I'm sorry. I apologize. If there's anybody in the audience that have a question for Mike, I'm sorry. My apologies.
I'm not so much as a question for him, but I think the last time that we had a Parks meeting, Sam was here and we talked about the Boys and Girls Club of America and partnering with the
Correct.
Phoenix Club. Hearing both of these parties, it sounds like their need is the same thing.
Correct.
It's a space. Is there a way that we can combine these two organizations to say, I mean, they're both great for our kids. Is there a way that we could say, look, let's partner together in like 3 ways. The city of Irondale, our businesses, YBOA and Boys and Girls Club and through the Phoenix Club partner together and have a facility that can be used for both the Boys and Girls Club and something like this. Just trying to think big picture. How can we, these are all great ideas. How can we bring it all together?
Well, that was my phone call tomorrow. I'm sorry. Thank you. But I was calling the Boys and Girls Club tomorrow, but I'll let you know. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
And it's for you, actually. If Irondale contributes some money to this facility, does that mean that they can use the facility without having to pay rent
Yeah,
for their
well,
youth sports?
That are things that has to be worked out. It's according to what the, of course, we'll have attorneys brought in and they'll discuss that type of thing. But yes, I mean, that's the
Because I used to be a Mountain Brook Gymnastics meet coordinator for about 5 years, so I know exactly what you're talking about. And for the state meets, we had to go outside and get a facility that we did not own, so it would, but that would be, great for the youth sports here. If we had a place, if the city invested in, and then the youth would not have to pay rent to use it.
I know
So-
for instance, like Hoover, the Hoover kids come into the Finley Center and they may pay $5 to come in and play. The only reason I think they do that is just to make sure you don't have just anybody coming in. You wanna have some kind of control, but those kind of things would be worked out. The conversations with Vesper, when I had that conversation with the mayor, was with the underprivileged children, like they go around and pick up buses, they would bring them to this location to keep housing. 100% would want to be involved with those kind of things. For me, like when you're talking about renting out, those kind of things, like there's organizations out there today renting, Sanford, renting Hoover High School, these different schools. So of course we would want to bring in revenue to this facility instead of renting those facilities, to come in and rent this facility. But as far as the city, those kind of things can all be negotiated and discussed. I mean, I'm
Because
open.
like 10 years ago, when I used to run the facility, a weekend meet would bring in $25,000 just for one weekend.
Yeah.
And that was a while ago,
Yeah.
so I'm sure it's a lot more now.
It is, I mean, it's very fruitful and, numbers, I mean, I look them over, if you have any questions with the numbers, if you know Tanya Wally and the Birmingham, Jefferson County Treasury Bureau, I've worked with her for 10 years. So she's fed me a lot of information. Joe Pickett's actually my boss with Youth Basketball America. He funnels these dollars to me, but yes, I have 9 years of finances on my own, CPA numbers to show how much we bring in. So, but as far as partnerships with Boys and Girls Club, those kind of things, those aren't competitions. I'm going to tell you that Youth Basketball America runs tournaments in the weekend. If Hoover Finley Center is running a tournament this weekend and they have 11 courts and they have a need for 16, they need 20, we could even sub that out to them, let them come in, and we could also run our tournament somewhere else. I mean, you could do things like that. Because again, you're looking for the heads and beds. I mean, those are things that you're really looking for. So the big thing is, I have so many athletes, so many business partners that I deal with on a daily basis that will come to this facility. So, thank you for your question. Yes?
I just have one clarification.
Sure.
Your facility is all indoors, is that correct?
That is
No
all
outdoor sports or anything like that?
All indoors. No rain.
Can the last two commenters state their name and address?
Ann Lafayette, and it's Bramble Lane.
Okay. Bramble Lane?
Bramble,
Okay. What's the street number? The number?
1004.
Okay.
Dickie, Clemmer, Clemmer. And, I'm sorry, I didn't know what else.
The address?
5016 Northumberland Drive. 35210.
Yes.
Ross Graham, 5632 Haven Hill Road. John, how many acres are at
I think it's a little bit over 20 acres there.
Why, I was thinking, is this isn't something at the time of the CDA? By that I mean, if we could sell this roughly to the CDA, turn around and take that money and buy our soccer fields back from the county for our outdoor sports, then the CDA, we could do something this on part of that property, and the CDA could do something with the rest of it. Is that feasible?
Not feasible, and you want to answer that, or you want me to answer that? Okay. It's not feasible. He'll tell you why.
Well, first of all, we can't sell the park because once a park has been dedicated as a park, it has to be, the only way it could be undedicated as a park is that the citizens would have to have a vote to say that it no longer involves a park. Second of all, the soccer fields have already been sold by the county. They've been sold to the landscaping company that is next door to their facility. They plan on using the additional land and expanding their business. So the soccer fields are no longer in play, and the city can't sell the park because it's a park, basically. And the only way that you could sell some of that land, it would have to be undedicated to be a park, and that would take a vote of the people to be able to do that.
Well, if this was put before the people to sell part of it, do you think that we could get the votes to do it?
I don't know, Ross, to be honest with you. That's an election of the people there. You have some people that this park was here when their kids played baseball on it. So to be honest with you, I'm just going to say no. I don't know how a vote would turn out.
It's a shame because we had those soccer fields back. We had some people that got the deal killed. If we'd have done that then, we could, maybe we had to go to the people and ask them if they would vote on it. Give them a choice. Thank you.
Any other questions? Anyone? Any more questions? All right. Thanks, Mike. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So this was something that kind of got moving around in my head a little bit, and had a conversation with Mayor about it, had a conversation with Councilman London about it, and I might have talked to a few others informally about it, but we're going back and forth a lot with our Phase 1 plan for Roughner Ballpark. There's a lot of moving pieces there. Obviously, we put out the bid. The bid came in over twice what the funds were allotted to pay for Phase 1. So we kind of had to regroup, and we haven't fully completed that process yet on the regrouping. But one part of that Phase 1 element was a dog park. Now, our dog park, the people that enjoy our temporary, what was supposed to be temporary but has become almost permanent, it seems. They're in one of our baseball fields, no access to water, no access to shade, things of that nature. We don't know how long it's going to take us to redevelop Roughner. We're still going back and forth over Phase 1. So my idea was, and I wanted to bring it up in this setting first, and get some input on it, is to go ahead. I've always thought that Ellard was a great fit for a dog park. I was never fully on board with it being in the ballpark. I've always thought the best use for Ellard would be that dog park, since you really can't do anything. It's not big enough for fields of any sort. So I know we've got some money that was dedicated to the park from Spire when they purchased some temporary and permanent easements. It was very important to me at that time, because we were going through some budget issues, that money be earmarked for the park. Now, this dog park would be an element of Roughner Ballpark, so my idea is, in order not to cost the city extra money, is to go ahead and take that money from Spire and take that feature off of Roughner Ballpark and move it over to Ellard. There's enough money in that Spire fund, most likely, unless obviously with some construction issues, that number might have changed a little bit. But the old number that Frank gave us for the cost to construct the dog park in comparison to the funds that we have, we're basically kind of good to go. You know, without looking at some specifics, we're pretty good on that. So it was my idea to possibly consider moving that dog park plan out of the Roughner Ballpark and relocating it at Ellard, and basically getting it done, and giving our citizens who like to go to the dog park, giving them their final permanent home instead of this temporary ballpark that we've allowed them to, or that we've allocated to fill their needs temporarily. So that was my idea, and I just wanted to float that across.
Anybody have any questions, comments?
I definitely would be interested in the feedback on that. That's one reason I wanted to bring it up in this format.
Council President, I did want to say that it was $42,000 was a part of the Spire agreement. Dickie Drake also gave $7,500 as well. So you have about $50,000 initially to be able to do that. And I feel very confident because the state and the county has not begun their budget cycle. But there are grants that are out there from those two entities as well. So anything that would be a shortfall, I feel that we could approach those entities to be able to get the additional funding to make it happen.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. So I would be very interested from the people that are with us this evening to hear any questions or comments about that possible idea or notion.
Ann Vafiatis again, 1004 Bramble Lane. I've been part of this whole process from the beginning, when we lost the spot behind Irondale Pickers almost 4 years ago now. We did bring up the people who do enjoy the dog park, Ellard Park, in the beginning, because we spoke to soccer at the time, we spoke to football at the time, and it wasn't good for either one because there's no outside lighting could ever be put there, so no nighttime games can be played there. And it wasn't big enough for soccer. They needed more space, more fields. So they said, you know, if you guys want Ellard, that's fine. As far as it being at Roughner, we were okay with that. We were always leery about having it at the same place as the children. We know that sometimes children and the dogs don't always go together well. So again, Ellard Park would be its own entity, and we wouldn't have to worry about, you guys could do whatever you wanted at Roughner and not have to say, well, we can't put that there because the dogs are there. The dog park is not really, in my opinion, a dog park. It's for those residents in Irondale who enjoy being outside, meeting new people, spending time with their family. I don't have young children anymore. My girls are older. We take our dogs there. That's what we do now, because we're done with the gymnastics, the dance, and the volleyball and all that other good stuff. So it's really for the retired, the single, the married with older children, the people with younger children who are at school that want to come. It's for everybody. And then the dogs get to come with us. So that's really how we see it. I've met so many good friends there, at least 10 people who are now I can call my friends, by having this temporary dog park. So it is an asset to the city. It brings in people from other places. They then say, hey, I didn't know about that place on that road. Yes, go there, spend your money, you know. So I think we should move forward with something in Irondale. It will bring in revenue, it will bring in people, it will be beautiful, and then we can focus on Roughner without having to worry about what we can or can't put near the dogs.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions on this?
I'm Therese Bynum, and I'm at 209 Spring Avenue, 35213. And Remy's Dog Park, because I was looking that up today, is like 10th in the southeast, or it's 10th in Alabama from, I can't remember what magazine. And that's the one over at Red Mountain. And I mean, it does bring in a ton of people. It doesn't have lights, because I know that was a concern. It does not have lights for night activities, which I think is a good idea, not to have people in the dog park at night. But I think it's a great idea, and I love the Ellard Park being part of that. So I just wanted to bring up Remy's as well, because it's, if we do something like that, then it will bring
And I
a lot
did
of
speak
people
to
in.
him at some point, and he said, get in touch with your city.
Yeah, yeah.
So as they know, I've been under their skin for
Yeah.
almost 40 years.
And I've been in touch with him too, so it's a great idea, so thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Smiley, could you remind me how many acres over there? Do you have any idea?
Honestly, I haven't looked at it in quite some time. I
It's been a while.
don't know the acreage on Ellard.
9 acres?
I think it's
Mayor says he thinks about 9 acres over there.
Okay. The flat surface specifically, Mayor, do you know the size of the flat area? How much of that 9 acres is flat and suitable?
I do not, but in having conversations with people that work in that area, they say it's more than enough space to be able to create a very nice dog park.
Yeah, I went there, we drove by there last week, and
Mhm.
there's plenty of room for a small side and a large size.
And I know there's already water up there.
Right, and we just need the watering stations, right, there's already water.
Copy.
Yeah, my only response to that is, I always like to listen to what our residents say, and they are okay with this. Therefore, I would be okay with it too. So I thank you both for the comments that you've made, because you're the ones that have been involved with this for several years, and your input's very important, so thank you.
Jackie Crandall. I agree. I think Ellard is a great spot for the dog park. I think it's hard to imagine what else it could be used for because of the restrictions. And I think the people who support the dog park deserve their place. It's been a long time coming. My one hesitation that I want to say that I think why I liked phase 1 so much is because it added so much to everybody. It got better parking for the trails at Roughner, which are so desperate. And then it had a playground. And I want to fully support the dog park moving forward, but I would love to have a stipulation that we're not gonna stall with Roughner, that we can keep moving forward with Roughner, because I seriously am losing hope that my kids are ever gonna have a playground to play on, because they're just gonna outgrow it. It's been 5 years that Mr. London and I have been emailing back and forth and sending
right.
pictures and here's designs, and
That's right.
I don't wanna have to drive 45 minutes on the weekend to take my kids to a great playground
Correct.
in a park that we can all be together as a family. And so I want to support this. I want to say, let's do it, let's go with it. But I also want that stipulation that we're not going to give up on Roughner.
No.
That it's not something we're going to just push down the line. That we're still going to meet, we're still going to hash it out, we're going to get the plans. And I want to have a place where my kids can play before they're not kids anymore. So.
Thank you. Anything?
It's a good idea.
Okay.
All right. All right, if there's no other comments, get a motion that we shut this meeting. We got sorry, you
I was
got,
just wondering if we were gonna talk about Roughner, because that was.
no, just those 2 things on the agenda, just those
Okay,
2
so
things.
when can we talk about Roughner
We'll
Park?
set up another one. We're not gonna talk about it tonight, okay?
Just- If I can just add
Can I get a
one
motion?
comment.
Can I get a
If could
motion?
just- Can I make a comment? please?
We're not talking about Roughner, right?
We're not talking about Roughner, I'm just saying.
Talking about the dog park or
Right,
the
right.
facility?
The comment that I would like to make, because I appreciated all this input, is that we have a advisory group that's comprised of our residents that can communicate with us, because whatever decisions we make, it should be based on their input. Not what we think is best, but based on their input. So I'd like to recommend that we have a advisory type of group, as we've had in the past, where they can give us their input and we can make better decisions.
He's your chair, so I mean,
That's what we always done. We've never, this committee can't make a decision. We always take the advice of the people. Everything I ever thought about doing came from the audience.
Right, we
And
just
so,
have an advisory group.
and then I brought it to, the whole city's advisory group to me, not just a group of people in a certain district, a certain community, the whole city, because we're talking about the whole city. Because the rec center, the dog park, it's going to affect the whole city and not just a district. So I have in the past taken advice from the whole city, who is my advisory group. So all of these ideas didn't come from me. It came from somebody, dog person, the gym person, whatever. It came from them. Playground, came from them. So we do have an advisory committee. I don't think we need 5 people to make a decision on.
I do
What the
think it
city
is I do think it is a fair request when you see fit,
Yeah.
John, to call a parks meeting,
Correct.
specifically around Roughner so that we can
We
analyze.
will do that.
So we can analyze the cost, of various components and come forward with a new phase one
I
proposal.
think, I totally agree,
Yeah.
but we're not gonna do it this meeting.
No, I understand
Yeah.
that, but I do agree with Councilwoman Cuellar that we, and ultimately,
Yeah.
Ms. Crandall,
Correct.
I never wanted to put that concept in the freezer either, so we
That's
will
right. Totally
address it.
Because there's some discussion I'm having with the mayor right now,
Got it.
talking about what you're talking about, and this is not the time to talk about that.
Thank you, sir. That being the case, I'll accept I will make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in
Second.
favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
And call this meeting to order. Thank you for everybody that's in attendance with us tonight. Councilwoman Cuellar, if you'd be so kind.
Let us pray. Almighty God and Father of us all, we give you thanks for this day, and we especially give you thanks for the many blessings that you bestow upon our beloved community here in Irondale. We also thank you for the blessings that you bestow upon each and every one of us every day. We remember those who are ill. In particular, we remember our beloved Public Works Director, Frank Pennington. We ask that you continue to grant him much healing so that he may have an expeditious recovery and return back in serving as our Public Works Director. We also ask that you lead and guide us in several decisions that we'll be making this evening. Lord, grant us much wisdom, that everything we do may be in the best interest of our city, and that it may all be in accord with your will. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ma'am. Looking for a roll call. Councilman London?
Present.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Present.
Councilman Sims?
Present.
And myself present. Councilman Box is not with us this evening. Next item on the agenda would be the approval for the minutes. So I'm looking for a motion for the approval of minutes for the regular council meeting of September the 1st.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for the regular council meeting, September 1st.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Next item would be to pay the bills. I would accept a motion for the bill payment.
Motion to approve the payment of our bills in the amount of $228,548.86.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Now we would look for any of our professional and/or consultants to give us a report this evening. Any professional or consultants with us this evening? Okay. That being said, Mayor, your report, please, sir.
First of all, I wanted to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Seemed like we have a lively crowd, and I guess we'll have a lively meeting as well. But we thank you for coming out tonight. I just want to be able to cover a few things. I want to encourage everyone that if you didn't get an opportunity on September the 5th to be able to see the message with the mayor, it is, we had a very interesting conversation. One of my good friends, Darrell Washington, was the one that interviewed me for that message with the mayor. And if there's anybody out there tonight that would love to interview me for the message with the mayor, you can talk to my booking agent, which is my spouse sitting on the front row right there. We had Nate. He's already had an opportunity to be able to do a month. So we're willing to take anybody. Anybody wants to come and to interview and to talk and just share with issues and everything that's going on in the city of Irondale. That's what we use the message for the mayor every month, to be able to get the word out. Secondly, I had an opportunity to be able to, I called it Bible study, but the seniors called it Bible huddle. I had an opportunity on Monday, even though I've been battling gout for about a couple of weeks, to go and to be able to teach a Bible study class to them. And the name of the study was called But God. And it was taken from the book of Daniel. And it simply means that we all have moments in our life that are called But God. I mean, if God didn't step in, where would we be? So we had a very interesting and lively topic about that on Monday. And on tomorrow, we're having the mayor monthly prayer meeting at the Life Church. It begins at 9 a.m. and we end promptly at 10 a.m. We're also celebrating this month the National Hispanic Heritage Month. It's going to be on September the 26th. It's going to be at Vivian Moore State Farm office from 2 to 5. We're going to have food, and I know everyone wants to come to be able to ride the mechanical bull. So we're going to have a mechanical bull. Make sure you have your insurance when you come, because we don't want you to drive through the city if you get thrown off and hurt yourself. But we're going to have food, mechanical bulls, singing, and dancing. And lastly, I had an opportunity on last Thursday. We created the Citizens Engagement Institute, and for 6 weeks, I'll be teaching a class on how to navigate through local government. The first night, we had 32 people that was there. We talked about how public policy affects your life. You may think DC or Montgomery affects your life, but I will tell you that the city of Irondale probably affects your life more than any governmental body. For instance, everybody's trash got picked up this week, right? Well, let me rephrase that.
Week's not over yet.
Everybody who relies on the city of Irondale to be able to pick up their trash and do not live in an area where a private hauler is supposed to pick up your trash, did we pick up your garbage for you this week? Okay, so that's the benefit of being in a fantastic municipality like the city of Irondale. We have our own garbage service, we have our own water department, and because we have our own, we have the ability to be able to make sure that we take care of our own. We will have this class probably once a year. We have 32 participants that have signed up on a Thursday night to be able to hear me talk about government. And I said to myself, while I've talked to other mayors, how many people do you know that will show up on a Thursday night to be able to talk about government? When I was working to get my MPA from UAB, I didn't even want to show up on Thursday nights to be able to talk about government. But it's a wonderful class. This Thursday, we're talking about public works. So we're talking about public works and other city services. We're going to talk about courts. We're going to talk about the Senior Activity Center. But we want to give everybody an idea, the departments that are here at the city, how they function, how they navigate, and if you need them, how you can get in contact with them. I would say, Council President, that is the end of my report for tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. At this time, we'd be looking for any reports from our department heads. I know we have a few with us. Any reports from our department heads? Okey dokey. Now, Councilman London, if you would like to start us off with council reports.
Could you start that way? I'm sorry. Could you start on that end, because I have a presentation I'm gonna make tonight.
Sure, fair enough.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and flip it onto my end. I usually get to cheat and echo everything you guys say, so I just have to start from scratch this week. The one thing I do want to say is I did receive some correspondence from our executive director of the Irondale Chamber of Commerce. She said that she regretted she could not be here tonight, but she still wanted to give an update. So the Irondale Chamber of Commerce has 129 members. We have become a fleet member with Mercedes for fleet Sprinter vans. I didn't know this was a thing, but several people have joined because of the benefit of being able to get a new van at a great price. So that's interesting. Currently working on our POP campaign partnership opportunity program. This is a chance to obtain sponsors for all of our programming for 2022, allowing businesses to include sponsorships in their 2022 budget. We have 8 volunteers and a goal to raise $35,000, which would match city funding. So that came to us from Julie Gardner, our executive director of our Irondale Chamber of Commerce. So, fully reverse stream, Councilman Sims.
I just want to thank everybody for being here. It's pretty full, which is good to see. Thank you. I'm sure there's people watching online, so hopefully we'll speak up. You'll hear us. Thank you for watching, and that's all I have for tonight.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. The only report I have to give this evening is that many residents from throughout Irondale have been praying and very concerned about our Public Works Director, Frank Pennington. And I did get an update. The good news was that yesterday, he had his first physical therapy session, and it did wear him out, but he is coming along very nicely. And the family asks that you continue to pray for him as we look forward to his return to our city. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Linder.
Yes, sir. First of all, good evening to everyone. Back in our mayor, we talk about building community, which I think is excellent, excellent idea. I have a young man that's been in this community a long time. In fact, he and I used to be neighbors. A long time ago. We share fences. North across the fence, just north across the fence. We just didn't put our wives across the fence, so we kept things in their own homes. But this guy's been working with youth just as long as I have. He's been baseball, football, basketball. Matter of fact, when we started hiring youth basketball, he's coaching another team. And it's been a very, very inspiration, not only to my life, but a lot of young men and women in our community. And, you know, my granddad and mama used to tell us, you know, you have to give folks their flowers while they're alive. Because when they're dead, you're not going to be able to smell them. So, I called another day, that I was just sitting there thinking about people who impacted my life over the years. And this thing came up. I just showed him a text and told him thank you for impacting my life. Well, Chief Nathaniel Rutledge, come on up here. And a lot of you know, Chief, I said call him Chief, you know he's former Chief. So a lot of you know him. But I just want to say thank you for all that you've done for the city of Ironton. You know, and you've done it without even people knowing about it. Nobody knows all the things that you've done in this community. I do, because I was out there with you. I saw you early Saturday morning. Matter of fact, one thing he does now, he's the voice of the mountains. He does the basketball voice. He does the football voice. He does the baseball voice. Right now. And doesn't accept the candy for it. Just does it. I don't think kind of kids it anymore. I'm sure. This son graduated 2 years ago, and he's still doing the voice of the mountains. So these are the kind of folks that we can recognize. You heard all this negative stuff in the community. That's all Facebook is negative. All you talk about, but nobody talks about people like this on Facebook. Go to my page and see how positive my page is. You want to have a good day? Bring me. You see how positive it is. If someone put a negative comment on my page, I delete them. But that's not how I live my life. That's not how, I don't live my life trying to down folks and create animosity amongst folks. Because we don't know how long we're going to be here. Today we might be out of here. And my last day is not going to be down in people. My last day is going to be giving people that deserve their flowers. That's what my last day is. So I'm just going to read this, Chief, not holding along. So whereas Chief Nathaniel Rutledge has dedicated his life, I'll pull this down so I can't see what I see in the fogging up. Whereas Chief Nathaniel Rutledge has dedicated his life to serving the community. Whereas Chief Rutledge's career in law enforcement spanned 29 years, beginning in 1988 at the Lee County Sheriff Office. Whereas Nathaniel Rutledge also served as the Jefferson County Sheriff Office and Fairfield Police Department before his promotion to police chief at the city of Bessemer in 2002. Whereas Chief Rutledge holds his Bachelor of Science degree in criminology from Auburn University, War Eagle. Just one? Three. Say, well, there's 2 or 3 gathered. And a Master of Science degree in Justice and Public Safety from Auburn University, Montgomery. Whereas Chief Rutledge is a graduate of a 238 session of the FBI National Academy and the FBI Southeastern Law Enforcement Development Seminar, and has obtained certification as Certified Law Enforcement Executive by the State of Alabama Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission. Wow, I didn't know you had all that. Whereas Nathaniel Rutledge once served as the president of the Alabama Association of Chief of Police, whereas Chief Rutledge served in the United States Marine Corps. There you go. He served 11 years in reserve, was promoted to the rank of sergeant, and also a Desert Storm veteran. Whereas Chief Rutledge proudly served in the Sunday school ministry and as a student at Trinity CME Church Collegeville at 9:30. Pull him up on Facebook. He's good. Whereas Chief Rutledge has served as the advisory board of the American Red Cross, the Salvation Army, Bessemer West Jefferson Literacy Council, and his council, the Children Police Policy Council. Whereas Chief Rutledge is an active member of the Prince Hall Free and Accepted Mason of Alabama, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, and the Birmingham Mountain High Hikers. Whereas Chief Rutledge does a great service in our community and our student as the voice of Shades Valley School Knowledge. Whereas Chief Rutledge is happily married to George, his wife, and is proud of 3 children, Erica, Lauren, and Trey. And I think I saw Erica. Did she come in here? Somebody, nobody, did she come in? I don't know. Oh, okay. And now therefore, be hereby resolved that I, Councilor John London, along with Mayor James Stewart, can you come up here, can you walk up here, slow walk?
Yeah.
I want to hold you on. Sit around that honor chief, Nathaniel Rutledge for his service and dedication as an outstanding citizen of the city. In witness whereof, I have him to set my hand to call the sit around there to be affixed the 15th day, September 2021. Thank you very much.
Get a photo. Oh, sorry. Everybody vaccinated? Well.
It would be complete then.
That's right.
So.
Wow. First of all, I'd like to offer my apology to this pretty young lady here who asked if you want to say something, you need to fill out a sheet of paper. I didn't plan to say anything, but I want to say this real quickly. First of all, to this mayor and to this council, I thank you for your service and who you are and what you represent for our city. Our city is well because of our leadership, and I certainly appreciate all that you do. We've been in Irondale for over 30 years, and I love me some Irondale. I love everything about it. And so I plan to come this evening trying to get off work and get over here quickly because I heard that there will be conversation about youth programs today, that there will be something going on talking about the children. And somewhere in the midst of it this afternoon, I also found out that there may be some recognition. Didn't expect all of this, but I'm thankful for it. All I want to really say is that if my pastor used to always say, if there's no crying babies in the church, then your church is dying. Where there are no children actively involved in your community, then your city is dying. They have to be a part of the things that are going on, then they'll be part of the growth that comes, and then they will be a part of how vibrant we become as the years go forward. My very good friend, Chief Jason Wiggins, knows as I know that when we have children actively involved in their communities, vested where they live and where they serve, they grow up to be good citizens, and they're less likely that we'll put them in jail or have to deal with them in some adverse manner. So this honor, I can't thank you enough for. I can't thank you enough for friendship and love. I can't thank you enough that you are just as invested as other people we would want them to be in making a dedicated difference in our community. Irondale, I simply ask that we work together and we stick together, that we continue to do the things to build up our community the way we want it to be, and that we live a life so pleasing before God that we're worthy of such praise and such growth that will be able to come our way. Thank you once, thank you twice, and on behalf of my family and Joyce, thank you a third time. God bless and God keep you.
That's the end of my report, sir.
That concludes your report?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And thank you, sir. Okay, since that concludes all the council member reports, at this time we'd be looking for any reports of reports of boards or non-council committees. Yes, sir.
I don't know if this is on or not. My name is Marty Schwartz. It's a tough act to follow. Congratulations. I'm chairman of the abatement board, and the abatement board has been very active this year, as you all well know, and there are several issues on tonight's agenda. I'm going to be really brief. I would just like to thank Mr. Cochran, city inspector, and Assistant Chief Doss for their excellent assistance to the abatement board. Without them, we would not be able to do the job that we're doing. With that in mind, the 4 properties that are going to be discussed in a public hearing, I'm not going to come up for each one. You all have photos. You'll see they are all in gross disrepair and uninhabitable. They are uninhabitable, so please consider that in your decision. The other thing I would like to request, I have not gone line by line through the budget, but I assume we have our usual $25,000. We do not. Okay. In the past, we had $25,000 per year for demolition if the property owners would not take down their properties. I would like to ask the council to consider on a contingency basis if we run out of money or don't have any money and we need to demolish these properties, to consider that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Any other reports from any boards or non-council committees? Yes, sir.
I suppose it's appropriate at this time.
Absolutely.
David Pugh from the Commercial Development Authority. I gotta say this, when Chief Rutledge stood up and with his mask on and a bow tie, I thought, he doesn't look like a Marine sergeant. And then he spoke. And I said, he sounds like one. Congratulations, we're glad to have you in Irondale, proud of you. Just a quick update on what the CDA's been doing. The biggest thing that we continue to monitor are developments with Project X. We've spoke about that before, not at liberty to disclose any names, but that's a large multi-acre site where there is a substantial opportunity for retail development, including some large national retailers. The property is under contract. They're working with a developer. It's a contingent contract, of course, and they're working on budget numbers now. The site is challenging and presents some substantial expenses, but we're working steadily through the budget. The thing we're spending most of our time on with our partner Retail Strategies is what I call our inventory of smaller parcels. There are 2 out parcels at the Cahaba Crossing site. That's where the new Publix grocery store is going. Retail Strategies is talking to several people there. There's 1 parcel on the classic car motoring site, the old Sam's. And we're working with Jeff Baggett to try to identify some retail opportunities there. Of course, everyone knows that PNC is vacating that site. We're already talking to retailers about either possible tenants or purchasers there. And the fact that we're losing Jack's, now that's several months down the road, but we're already talking to retailers there. We learned actually about 3 weeks ago that the old former Regions Bank branch was under contract. They're supposed to close this week. The agent has not been at liberty to tell us if they already have a tenant or if the owner has an intended use for it, but we stand prepared to try to find a tenant for that space if it's available, as well as the old furniture store and gym next to it. Whether that particular building, it's got some challenges, but whether that particular building is ever occupiable as is, or if it will have to be substantially altered or demolished, that remains to be seen. But that's 6 sites, 6 parcels in our inventory that we're actively trying to find. tenants for. And Retail Strategies is presently talking to a full-service steakhouse, a fast casual chicken restaurant, a fast casual taco restaurant, an upscale burger restaurant, and an ice cream store, ice cream restaurant. That sounds funny. I have to use generic names because I'm not at liberty to say with whom they're talking. But we're very excited about, we've seen a marked recent increase in interest in Irondale, where people are contacting Retail Strategies instead of vice versa. And I think that's because the word is out about some things on Grants Mill, such as Cahaba Crossings and other development. We hope that trend continues. We're continuing to talk to AlDOT about the possibility of reconfiguring the intersection at 16th Street and Crestwood Boulevard to try to make that parcel where the old dentist office stands a more marketable site. There continues to be interest there, but that radius with the loop makes it a less than attractive site. The biggest new thing we're doing, we've now contracted with a company called McNally Land Design. He's going to be consulting with us in 3 different phases. They're going to review our present city ordinances with an eye towards land use ordinances. And we're going to take advantage of their expertise and substantial experience with other municipalities to make suggestions or requested changes to land ordinances. Obviously, we don't have the authority to make the change. That lies with you, the city council, but we would work with you. And of course, we're working under the mayor's oversight and in conjunction with the efforts of Blueprint Irondale. We just had the funds available and thought it would be good use of those funds to do that study. The second phase that they're going to do is review not only our signage ordinances, but make suggestions for improved signage so that we have a consistent presentation throughout the city for any public signs, border crossings, that kind of additional welcome to Irondale kind of signs. And then lastly, and the most exciting thing, is to look at our most heavily traveled rights of way, Crestwood Boulevard, Grants Mill, and others, particularly our entry points into Irondale, and to do some studies for greenway improvements and right-of-way improvements as far as landscape. So we hope to have something pretty exciting to present to the city council and to the city on all 3 of those phases in the coming months. Any questions?
Can I get a copy? Can I get a copy of all that you just said? I was trying to write.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
just email me.
Yeah. Glad to.
Thank you.
I'm good, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other reports from any other boards or non-council committees? Probably covers most of them. Okay, perfect. So we're going to go ahead and we have 4 public hearings to work through this evening. Each public hearing, we will open a public hearing. We will hear from people for the proposal, and then after that, we will hear from people against the proposal. During that time of speaking, 2-minute time limit. Once again, it's very crucial that this young lady right here has your name and address for the record. Once everyone has spoken from the audience, we will accept a motion to close the public hearing, and then council will begin to deliberate after we've heard from everybody. And then we'll be done with that public hearing, and then we will repeat the process 3 more times. Okay, so that's how we're gonna do that tonight. So let me grab a sip of water here. That being said, notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held at the city council, by the city council, to hear from the owners of and any interested citizens concerning the property located at 2580 Edwards Street, Irondale, Alabama, and the city council's determination concerning demolition of the unsafe conditions located on such property. I know that we have a chair of housing and abatement, and we also have our assistant fire chief with us, who is also working with buildings. So if anybody feels passionate about speaking on one of those properties, I would welcome y'all to do so. That being said, at this time, I would accept any comments for the abatement of this property. Did you want to speak on this, sir? You're good on that one? Okay. Any comments for the abatement of this property? That being said, any comments against the abatement of this property? So we have no for or against. I'd accept a motion to close this public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That being said, Councilman London, do you have any questions about this item?
No question.
Councilwoman Quayer?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
I don't have a question about this specific item, but I don't know when is the proper time to address it or ask this. If we were to vote to, for demolition, what is the process after that, if it is approved?
Sure, so if it's approved, sir, if you would, or legal?
There will be a 30-day appeal time for the owners and any other interested parties. And then after that, after the end of the 30 days, the city could proceed to demolish.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions on that one? You good? Good. And then I do not have any questions on that one either. Okay? That being said, we'll go ahead and enter into our second public hearing. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the City Council to hear from the owners of and any interested citizens concerning the property located at 1586 Hillside Drive, Irondale, Alabama, and the City Council's determination concerning demolition of the unsafe conditions located on such property. That being said, anyone that would like to speak for the abatement of this property? Anybody that would like to speak against the abatement of this property? Fair enough. I'll accept a motion to close public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Councilman London, any questions about this?
No question.
Councilwoman Quayer?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
None.
And myself, no questions. Moving on to our third hearing. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the City Council to hear from the owners of and any interested citizens concerning the property located at 248 Roughner Road, Irondale, Alabama, and the City's Council's determination concerning demolition of the unsafe conditions located on such property. Accept any questions for anybody in favor of the abatement of this property. I'll now accept any comments concerning the, anybody that's not in favor of this abatement.
Hello, my name is Gip Plott. What do you need besides my name? Do you need something besides my name?
Your address.
My home address is 1407 Morningside Drive, Birmingham 35213. Okay. I own 248 Roughner Road and 240. I bought, I think it's about 7 acres on Roughner across from the ball fields that I intend to redevelop, and I've got plans here to show you. I bought it about a year ago, although it's been in this same condition for 20 years or so, but I bought the property about a year ago, and I've just been tied up with other projects. We've, the plans I have to show you included 2 12,000-foot buildings that we were having trouble even ordering. We haven't submitted any plans to Mr. Doss yet or anything. But we have every intention in the world of developing the property. We've put new sewer on the property. I've spent about $30,000 a month ago on doing environmental cleanup, and that's basically it. I have every intention of developing it. I've already cleaned up one building on the property, but in the one that's there, it is in bad shape. It's not like it's in a condition that it's going to collapse. And I've bought dozens of buildings, all through Jefferson and Shelby County, and cleaned them up. They were in at least as bad a condition as this one. But my plan is to, on the building on the 248 site, it's roughly about 4,000 feet, and I do plan to build an 8,000-foot building there. We're taking prices for that now. So there is no need for the city to tear it down, and I would agree to, if I don't begin construction in a certain period of time, I would be willing to take it down if it was, still a concern of the city's.
Thank you, sir. We might come back to you with some questions.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other citizens concerned about not abating this property? Okay. That being said, I'll take a motion that we end this public hearing.
Second.
Can we ask questions?
We'll ask the questions after we get done with the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Councilman London, do you have any questions for the gentleman?
Well, you say you have plans for this property? What kind of building are you talking about putting on this property?
They're gonna be metal, commercial, industrial buildings.
Used for what?
Well, we haven't even started marketing it because we haven't, we're not that far along. I mean, you'll see in my plans, we're far along as far as engineering and all goes.
Mhm.
I'm gonna give you these to pass out.
Yeah,
There's two different plans here. There's, when you're going, I'm not even sure of the name of the road that intersects with Roughner, where you run straight into my
Correct.
property.
That's right.
I've got a plan for the left side there, and that's this plan here that shows two proposed buildings. And then on the other side, where the 248 building is, I've got another plan on it that calls for a cul-de-sac, and that's where we've just recently put in new sewer and so forth, and it's all been approved by Jefferson County. So can I hand this over to you?
Thank you, sir.
Separate one.
Get him the two copies right there. Yeah. Hey, you wanna use this one? Use that one.
Oh, okay. I apparently did that wrong.
You need this other one?
Here's that one.
All right.
Here's that one.
Okay, thank you. So I guess the question is, how soon are you talking about this being in place?
I would say, but we already have a construction loan in place, and that was the other reason. You know, the property that's there has collateralized part of our loan. That's the other reason we don't need it torn down. But I would say certainly within the next 6 months, and hopefully sooner. But we've already been told by two different metal building contractors that we're looking at a minimum of 6-month delivery on a metal building right now.
Okay.
And I haven't submitted anything to Mr. Doss yet.
Okay.
But except he hasn't even seen those plans yet, so
Okay.
I don't believe.
That's my question, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Cuellar?
I would be interested in hearing from our building inspectors, hearing what they have to say on it. I have seen the photographs. Can you comment on this, please?
Yes, ma'am. Me and Brad Doss, the other inspector here, we visited this building twice. The building is in poor shape. There has some load-bearing trusses that are coming down, some exterior walls that are coming down. The building's, it's in rough shape. It's gonna take a lot to get it back in order. I haven't met Mr. Plott on it yet, but I've been out to the site twice. But it needs a lot of work. Pretty dilapidated.
Thank you.
He's right.
How much work are we talking about, sir, from a monetary standpoint?
Oh, I'm sorry. How much?
How much are we talking about bringing it back up to code?
Well, I'm not planning on keeping that building. I'm just not, we're just in the planning phase, and I do have some lumber and stuff stored in it, very little, but I just really don't see the point of running out and demolishing it yet. And that's why I'm saying I'll be glad to stipulate a time frame. But and my intention, it's only 4,000 feet. My intention is to build a 7,500 to 8,000 foot building minimum on the site. The way it's situated, I've got plenty of land to the east to do that. And no one's going in and out of it on any kind of regular basis. So I just don't think I just don't think it is as critical a problem, you know, such that we need to tear it down right now. But I would, like I say, I would stipulate that I will tear it down in a certain period of time if the council would agree to that.
And the concern I have, sir, is I drove to the site to take a look at it.
I'm sorry?
I drove to the site to take a look at it, and it is open. And so I am concerned about people going into that building because it is not a safe structure. And that is what's weighing on me, is anyone that would go there and would get seriously harmed because of the state of the building. That's what's my concern is.
Yeah, I understand. Of course, they'd be trespassing, but. Yeah.
True, but it's wide open and it's not
Yeah.
a safe building structure.
Okay.
Does that conclude your comments, Councilwoman?
Yes,
Quinn?
thank
Okay.
you.
Councilman Sims?
I think y'all have pretty much hit everything.
So you're good?
Yes.
Good enough to proceed? Okay. My comments are basically, I've been into, I think it's actually a Roughner part, maybe I shouldn't confess to this or not, but I know that some of the people that come into our community on trains will find places like this to reside in. I'm not saying it's right, but I know that if we have the ability to limit our liability for people that choose to live that way, then I think we have to take that very seriously. And my other comment is, and this kind of goes a little bit back to Councilwoman Cuellar, is it is directly across the street from our ballpark. And although it's not really in use that much, it still does get some visitors. And to think of someone accidentally wandering over into that facility, it would, so that's, I don't know if you have a way that you would prefer to address those concerns, but those are just my comments to you. Thank you.
Council President?
Yes, sir.
That's one of the questions that I was going to ask Mr. Plott. Mr. Plott, is there any way that you could secure the site or secure the building, since it has all of those openings where someone can just kind of just walk up and
Right. You know, I think actually it just might just be as easy to tear it down.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough. Any other questions from the dais at this time?
No more.
Okay, fair enough. Mayor, you're satisfied?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Well, I was just curious if the mayor meant like just put a gate across at the, is that the security you were talking about?
Yeah, I'm just saying
Or-
to secure it, it's no different than when the council asked the Siesta to secure their site.
Right. Same thing.
I mean, I feel like that's a very simple request to just ask to secure the site. We're trying to give you the time that you need.
I appreciate that.
But, I mean, but I'm just saying, but if you don't want it, I mean, that's fine.
No, I appreciate that. I think, you know, if I'm gonna fence it or whatever, it might get in the way of our ultimate development, because I really don't have the plan completely, you know, finished. So, really, and if it's a concern for liability standpoint, which makes sense, it might just be easier for me to just eliminate the problem and we move on.
Okay.
Copy. All right, that being said, we'll move into our fourth and final public hearing. Therefore, notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the City Council to hear from the owners of and any interested citizens concerning the property located at 1018 Parish Lane, Irondale, Alabama, and the City Council's determination concerning demolition of the unsafe conditions located on such property. That being said, I would like to hear from anyone in favor of the abatement. Anyone in favor of the abatement? That being said, anyone opposed to the abatement? Yes, sir.
That's you also.
Now, this is a house that I just bought about a couple of months ago, and, you know, I plead no contest. I just haven't had a chance. I bought it, it was in this condition, and I've assembled several parcels around there, and I just haven't had any time to do anything with it, but I will take care of that. I didn't know until tonight that it was on the list, so.
Anyone else not in favor of the abatement? Okay, that being said, I'll accept a motion to close public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Councilman London, any questions for the gentleman in regards to this property?
Yeah, so you are gonna take care of it? When you say take care of it,
No, can I have 30 days?
we've done it before. Told 30 days.
His appeal time would be 30 days if the city council were to vote tonight to demolish.
Okay. Do you understand that? If we vote yes tonight, you still have 30 days? Okay.
All right, you're good, Councilman London?
Good, yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
All right, Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And myself, no questions either. Thank you. That being said, we would go ahead and move on to the deliberation of our council agenda items. We have quite a few of them tonight. Thankfully, we just deliberated on 4 of them under new business. On the consent agenda, we have several. Let's just take them one by one. Resolution 2021 R95 reappoints Kim Munford and Tanya Ferguson to the Irondale Public Library Board. Councilman London, do you have any questions?
Is Kim and Tanya here? Oh, okay, there we go. Hey, that's who I thought was your baby in the gray right there, just the face. Sorry, my apologies. No, I don't have no question.
You're
No
good?
question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
I just want to thank Ms. Wilson for sending us this information. I also want to thank your library board for making these recommendations. And last but not least, I want to thank these 2 women for stepping forward and giving of your time. I've heard many good things about the library. I wish I could get by there more often, but I really want to thank you because I've heard nothing but wonderful comments about the great work that's going on in the library. So thank you.
Councilman Sims?
I have no questions.
And myself, I would just like to echo the thanks. My wife and children come down there all the time, and the library does such an awesome job, and I just want to say thank you so much for everything you guys do, whether it's board responsibilities or just the day-to-day responsibilities that y'all take care of. Thank you for your service. New business, item number 2, resolution 2021 R96 accepts the bid for the 2021 road paving plan for paving in the amount of $1,816,817.59. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions?
All right. Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And myself, no questions, unless there's anything you would like to add to that, Mayor.
No questions.
Okay. Outstanding. Item number 3 under new business, resolution 2021 R97 accepts the bid for the 2021 road paving plan for crack sealing in the amount of $326,529.90. Councilman London, any questions?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions?
Councilman Sims?
What I've got says 346,000. Was that changed?
Mine is 326.
Probably.
Let me look at the
I
actual
might have pulled up
supporting
and-
item.
Not over, okay.
I believe this is what he's referring to. Good catch. Okay.
Oh, the sense is different too.
Yeah. Mhm.
Got both on this.
No, it's 340.
Do you want us to continue to deliberate, give you a little bit of time? Okay. We're
Council,
going to.
Council President?
Yes, sir.
The correct amount is $346,529.
And that's the
Well,
amount
it may be some cents, but the amount on the actual bid sheet when we opened the bids was $346,529.
Okay. 346, 529.90.
Yes,
Okay.
70.
70. Okay.
So we just need to make one other change on the resolution.
346.
In the amount of 346,529, change the 90 to 70.
So that will be an amendment to R97 that will need to be stated when we move, as we move forward into the approval of the agenda. Okay?
Council President, can I
Yes,
just
sir.
say one thing?
Yes.
When we started with this payment plan, we appropriated $2.4 million. And the bids for the crack sealing, for the milling and the overlay actually came in at $2.1 million. So we actually saved some money. It was lower than the amount that we actually budgeted to be able to do the roads and to do the crack sealing, the milling and the overlay.
Very nice. Okay. So we've got our answer satisfied on R97?
Correct.
Okay. And I myself, I have no additional questions there. Resolution 2021 R98 accepts the bid for road and pipe maintenance for the old Overton Trail subdivision in the amount of $315,165.40. Councilman London, any questions?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes, Council President Spivey, I'm going to ask that we postpone this resolution. And one of the reasons is that I would like to have two bids and not just one, as we've done with these other bids that we've just been looking over.
Fair enough. Mayor, did we only receive one bid for this?
Yes, we only received one bid.
You put it out for bid and we received one bid?
Yes, we received one bid for Old Overton, and we received two bids for the crack sealing and two bids for the road paving project.
Gotcha, but only one bid for Overton
Yeah,
specifically?
the initial bid came in at $428,000, but after the Sane got with the bidder on this project, it was reduced to the $315,165.40.
Okay. Based on the fact that we only received one bid, Councilwoman Cuellar?
I really would like to have two bids.
Any comments from you on this one, Councilman Sims?
I also, I think, would like to see two bids, but, I mean, if no one bid, you can't force anybody. I don't know bid laws. I don't know, I know we got the bid for the big, huge, their company is gonna be paving a whole bunch of roads. I don't know if it's an option to toss it out, hey, add these streets. But, I think two bids, you know, I would love to see, but I know
Well,
we can't just throw one out.
I'll just speak to, we turned down the one bid for the park because it came in as twice as much than was projected. It wasn't turned down because we only had one bidder. We turned it down because we had set aside $700,000 and it came in at $1.3 million. So that bid was not rejected because it was one bidder. It was rejected because the amount was twice as much as we projected for that project.
Was there a projection for this at all? I know this was kind of.
The projection for this was $280,000.
So that being said, we'll leave it to the, we'll leave it up for the motion of the body at that time.
A quick question, I have a question. You said, so Mayor, you said the bid actually came in at 400 and what thousand?
Initially, the bid came in at $428.91.40. There was some miscommunication on the storm drain portion of it. Matt Stoops with Sane got with the bidder on this project, and walk them through some cost-effective ways that they could do it instead of the way that they initially wanted to be able to do it. So that's why we were able to drive the cost down from 428 down to the 315 that it's on there for tonight.
So right from the start, we got a cost saving in the bid.
And this is a little sidebar, so I apologize ahead of time. As far as Mountain Lake Estates, where are we at in that bidding process?
Mountain Lake Estates is about 3 weeks out from finishing the structural drawings, putting the structural specs together so that it could be put out for bid. The reason that it's taken so long because Sane had to contract this out to another engineering firm because this is not something that they do. So they're waiting to be able to get the specs back from the engineer that they hired to be able to do the structural part of it. But they said that it would be about 3 weeks before they would have the bid specs completed. Once the specs are completed, then we will have to advertise for 3 consecutive weeks in the local newspaper. So we're probably looking at, I guess we could just say 2 months before we could bid it and have the bids back in-house for the council to decide to adopt or not to adopt.
Copy. Thank you, sir. All right, item number 5, Resolution 2021 R99 authorizes the execution of a service agreement with the Marsha Kelly Sutton Foundation in the amount of, and I understand it was listed on the agenda as $5,000, but it's actually $2,500.
Yes, that's correct, Council President.
Thank you, sir. Councilman London, any questions on that?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar, any
No
questions?
questions.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And myself, no questions. Item number 6 on new business. Resolved that Resolution 2021 R100 approves $5,000 for an event recognizing National Hispanic Heritage Month on September 26th of 2021. Any questions on that, Councilman London?
No, sir.
Okay, Councilwoman Cuellar, any questions?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
None.
And then myself, none. Unless, Mayor, is there anything that you want to speak on about that particular resolution?
I just want to encourage everybody to come out on September the 26th and have a good time celebrating the month.
And where's it going to be at, sir?
It's going to be at Vivian Morris State Farm office, which is right there on the corner of Crestwood Boulevard.
Gotcha. Thank you. Okay. Now, so far, we'll just pause for a moment, considering this is the consent agenda that we're reviewing. There seemed to be only disagreement on item number 4. Councilman London, do you agree?
Do I agree on?
That item number 4 was the only one that we had an issue with thus far?
Yes, sir.
And then Councilwoman Cuellar, would you agree there as well?
Yes.
And then Councilman Sims?
Yes.
Okay, so I would make a recommendation as we're approving this item to go ahead and move item number 4, which is Resolution 98, to the regular agenda. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Moving into the regular agenda, Ordinance 2021 R17 authorizes the refunding and valuation of taxable general obligation warrants. I know we have some people here that are probably able to speak on it tonight. Councilman London, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Okay. Councilwoman Cuellar, do you have any questions?
I did have some questions. I was looking for my notebook where I wrote these down.
I can come back to you.
Yes.
Councilman Sims? Do you have any questions about this? I myself do not have any questions. Mayor, is there anything that you would like to present on this?
I would just say that this is a standard process. We have some bond issues that we're going to refund, or we are going to attempt to refund. These were, initially when these bonds were issued, they were issued for capital projects. So that's why we're having to go through the validation process. And we have this resolution or this ordinance here tonight to be able to authorize for that to be able to take place. I know that the market is changing up and down. I know the last time we got some quotes, it was around $1 million in savings. Is it still holding their finance team? Okay. The finance team, you see them 3 guys right there on that road right there. If it don't work out right,
It's those 3.
it's Rod, Mac, and Matt. So they are our finance team. Matt is with Raymond James, Mac is our municipal underwriter, and Rod Cantor is our bond counsel. So if they say that we're going to receive $1 million plus, then I'm going to put it on them, not me.
No pressure. Councilwoman Cuellar, did you find your question?
Yes,
Please.
the mayor answered one of them. How long do you anticipate it will take for you to act and proceed to do the refunding once we approve this resolution?
Rod Cantor, bond counsel. I do not have $1 million to give you, but one of those guys does. To answer your question, the validation process takes a minimum of 42 days. Okay? We are under a court's calendar, but we will do everything we can, of course, to make sure that we hit that 42-day mark. Once the debt has been validated, there is then a marketing period and a sale of the debt that takes roughly up to a month. That month includes the time to come back and have the council approve the final financing with final terms and a final number of savings, okay? So all in all, my view, we will file the validation tomorrow, assuming the council's of a mind to approve the ordinance. My assumption is I think we will be anywhere from 42 to 50 or 60 days from that date to get the validation order, and then tack on another 20 days or so business days to get the deal wrapped up.
So we're looking at, the earliest would be December, early January.
I'm anticipating a December closing.
Okay, great.
But again, that 42-day period can be longer because we can't make a court act under the statute. So we know how to work with the courts, particularly here in Jefferson County. They understand validations. We expect them to move promptly, but with COVID and things like that, it's not in our control.
Great. All right, and then the mayor asked responded to the other questions, so I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So that was item number 1. Item number 2 is in regards to the 2580 property. We've already discussed that. Item number 3 involves the 1586 property. We've discussed that. Item number 4 regards the 248 Roughner Road property. We've discussed that. And then item number 5 is the 1018 Parish Lane property, and we've already discussed that. We find ourselves now with item number 6, which would be Resolution 2021 R105, approves the fiscal year 21-22 general fund budget. Now we have the next few items from 6 all the way down to 11 are concerning budgets. We can still take them one at a time. It has been asked of me for item number 6, 7, and 10 to be tabled for at least 2 weeks. So I'm just going to put that out there, but we'll take them separately. Councilman London, any questions or comments around R105? No questions? Councilwoman Cuellar, do you have any questions?
No questions, but I would like to postpone it.
Okay. Councilman Sims?
No questions.
Okay. I myself do not have any questions.
Let
Councilman
me
Box.
qualify what I meant by that. I have several questions that'll take too long to
No, I
ask
understand.
tonight.
And I appreciate
And so this
that.
is why I'm requesting that we postpone it.
Copy, I appreciate that. And Councilman Box did reach out to me about these, and he said that he was content with the body. So that being said, it is an item on the agenda. Is there anyone in favor of removing this item from the agenda?
I'd like to ask that we postpone it.
Councilman London, what do you say?
I have a question. Is this, I don't want to remove it. I'm satisfied with it personally myself, with the budget, with all of it. My question is, can we, this is a recommendation. If you had a question, could we get with the mayor and before we come to council and ask all these questions? That way, when we get here, we have them all answered and not have to waste much time. That's what I do. If I have a question, I call the mayor before I get here, or whatever and get my questions answered. But no, I don't want to remove it. I'm ready to get it over with.
Councilwoman
Because
Claire,
I
do you
looked
care
at the
to,
budget enough.
do you care to respond?
Yes, that is the reason that I am requesting that we postpone it, because I was unable to set up a meeting with the mayor and our city clerk treasurer because of my need to meet with several roofing contractors last week, as well as my insurance adjuster. And then I had car issues, which tied me up Monday and Tuesday of yesterday and this past Monday. So this is why I'm asking that we postpone it, so that I can meet with them to ask my questions.
Thank you. Councilman Sims, any questions or any input on removing this item from the agenda?
I don't have any questions.
Would you like to keep it on the agenda, or do you see fit to remove it?
I mean, if Councilor Cuellar has questions, I think she should be able to get some answers. But, I mean, we've got 2 more weeks, I guess, till the end of the month, so I think we've got time if needed.
Gotcha. I do not have any questions. I do not require that it be tabled, but I am willing, especially because Councilman Box is not here, to put his vote on it. I think it should be a full city vote personally. And if Councilwoman Cuellar does feel the need to partner with the mayor, I'm fine with taking it off the agenda. Mayor, I would like to ask you if that is going to, I think the answer is no, but are we overcomplicating things by removing it from the agenda? I don't believe we are hurting anything, are we?
No. I mean, you're not hurting anything. I mean, the next council meeting is October the 6th. The fiscal year starts on October the 1st. I know the employees would like for it to be adopted tonight because you can't retroactive the increase that's been proposed for them. But whatever the council decides to do, I have no issue with it. Either way, I told you my goal was to deliver it to you all by September the 15th, and I delivered by September the 15th. But I'm willing to postpone for another couple of weeks if needed.
Fair enough.
Councilman
Cuellar?
Spivey, because I want our employees to have their 3% raise, I would like us to call a special council meeting so that that can happen. I certainly don't want them to be delayed in getting what they're entitled to receive. They do a great job, and if we need to, I'd like us to call a special council meeting so that they can get the raises that are in this budget.
I would interject an additional thought line here, is we do have quite a bit of time before this month ends. You are offering to participate in a meeting, obviously. Instead of calling a special council meeting specifically for that one item, and since the fiscal year begins in the 1st of October, which would be after our, it would start after, it would already begun by the time we reapproach this. I would like to interject to the group to see if we would like to still get it approved by the end of September by holding an additional meeting strictly for the budget piece. Councilman London, what are your thoughts on that? That'll give Box a little bit of time and to possibly personally appear. What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts, I can't promise that I can be here.
Copy.
Because this time of the year, it's about to get busy for me at work.
Okay.
With my basketball teams, because of the evening schedule. It's about to ramp up starting Monday. So I was hoping we can get this done tonight and won't have to worry about, because I'm tired of looking at these numbers and these line items. I'm sorry. I was hoping to get it done tonight. That's my own personal. That's just one council person. But if that's what you like, that's fine.
So this is the same conversation that's being asked to have about item number 7 as well as item number 10. That being said, do these same comments still stand?
Yes. I would like to request postponing so that I can meet with the mayor to discuss the capital budget as well as the water department budget.
Councilman London, additional thoughts on that, or does it remain the same?
It's the same as all the
They stay the same? Councilman Sims, any additional comments, or do you stay the same?
Yeah, I mean, I think like what you said, Councilor Box is not here. I think the budget is definitely something I think all five should address and weigh in on. I definitely see Councilor London's point about he's got stuff happening and he planned to be here and make it happen tonight. I also see Councilor Cuellar's wanting to resolve some issues so that she can vote the way she sees fit. So I'd be open to some point in the next 2 weeks.
Councilman London, were you thinking about calling a different meeting sometime here in the very near future before the end of October?
As far as?
I didn't know if you were thinking about calling any, based on prior conversation this evening, I didn't know if you had any other meetings you're planning to call.
Comment, if I can't make this meeting, are you still gonna vote on the budget when one council's not here?
No, I'm trying to avoid that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to avoid
One council's
that.
not here tonight, may not be one council here the next time, but you're still gonna vote on the budget. So I'm trying to figure out, I don't know, I don't know.
The question is,
I
I
don't
didn't
wanna postpone
know
it.
within the next couple of weeks if you intended on calling any other meetings outside of council meetings.
No, I wasn't planning.
No, okay.
No.
With Councilman Box's recommendation to move with the body and the time frame of accepting this budget and having it in place by the fiscal year, I would go ahead and say that these items remain on the budget, on the agenda. That being said, item number 7, Resolution 106 for the Capital Fund. Councilman London, do you have any additional questions?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Again, the reasons that I stated, I really wanted to sit down. My intention was to sit down with our mayor and with Ms. Jackson to discuss this information. I did not intend to have problems with my roof. It was unavoidable, it's nature. And I really sincerely would like to have the time. There is no rush to approve these budgets tonight. We have time to discuss them, and it's why I'm asking that we postpone it. I would like to add that Councilman London has just stated that he has no problem with the budget, and he would vote for it regardless of whether we met in 2 weeks.
And this is not about Councilman London, because I want to get it done.
Fair enough. Councilman Sims, do you have any questions about item number 7?
No.
Okay. Regarding R107, approves the fiscal year budget 21-22 E911 fund budget. Councilman London?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And myself, no questions. Item number 9, R108, approves the fiscal year 2021-22 gas tax funds budget. Councilman London, any questions?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
No questions.
And myself, no questions. Item number 10 was also an item that was asked to be postponed. Resolution 2021 R109 approves the fiscal year 21-22 Water Department Fund budget. Councilman London, any questions?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar, any other comments?
Other than that, I'm requesting postponement so that I can discuss this budget with our mayor and our city clerk.
Okay. And Councilman Sims, any questions on item number 10?
None.
Okay. And then finally, item number 11, which would be R110, approves fiscal year 21-22 court fund budget. Councilman London, any questions there?
No question.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No questions.
Councilman Sims?
None.
And myself, no questions. Okay. So, at this point, we would go ahead and accept an approval. We'd like to go ahead and I would accept an approval for the agenda. Please note, we have several changes that needed to be acknowledged, which was number 1, the amount of number 3, and then also the amount of item number 5. Are there any other adjustments that I need to vocalize?
Which one you moved off the consent agenda to?
Yes, thank you very much, Councilman London. and then moving item number 4 off consent to the regular agenda. So those are the 3 items that need to be at least recognized. This agenda can be moved with any recommended items to be deleted, tabled, or elsewise. I would accept a motion for the agenda.
I make a motion the agenda be approved with number 3, Resolution 2021 R97 B to 346,529.70, the amount changed. And then 2021 R98 be moved from the consent agenda to the regular agenda. Is that all the changes?
Yes, I think
The amount moved to 2,500.
Oh, yeah, also, yeah. 2021 R99 amount changed from 5,000 to 2,500. That's correct.
Okay. We have an agenda that has been presented. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a seconded agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any nays? Any abstentions? Okay. Do you have that? Okay. That being said, at this point, we have an approved agenda. We would accept any comments for agenda items only at this time. And once again, we'll be enforcing the 2-minute rule. Yes, sir.
Marty Schwartz, 5540 Haven Hill Road. Is it indeed true that we do not have any money in the budget for the abatement board? Is that?
No, there is money in the.
Okay, I thought somebody said there was.
No, I think when you asked the question, was it increased to 50,000?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's money in the budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once again, I would just like to ask you all for contingency in the future if we run out, because the abatement board has been so active and doing such a great job, not me, but the board and these guys, to ask for that if necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments on agenda items only? Yes, sir. Just please remember to state your name and address for the young lady.
Terry Burney, 4023 Nicole Drive. My question on number 4, it was pulled. You guys are saying that you want to delay this. However, if this is done by the state bid law, which I'm assuming that's what the city operates under, correct? You're going to put yourself in a situation where the contractor who bidded this can come to the city and say that you're not allowing them to participate. So I think that you really ought to consider that, and plus the fact that it's a substantial savings, and plus we need our streets done.
We did not remove item number 4.
You didn't remove it, you
No,
took it
sir.
off consent.
Took it off consent.
You asked for comments on agenda items.
Right, and if that's your comment, that's fine, but
That's
I
my
just wanted to
comment.
point
That's
out that it was not removed.
Good deal.
Outstanding. Any other comments for agenda items only? Yes, sir.
I gave her my list there.
Perfect.
The same item, number 4, what was the amount that we had figured the first time for this project?
We never budgeted an amount. Those resolutions authorized for the plans to be taken. Then there was another resolution authorized for it to be bid out. Then we finally bidded the project out. So there was not a set amount when we started with the project, just like there's no set amount
We
with.
didn't have an estimate of it?
We didn't have an estimate of it until we got ready to put out the bids,
Okay.
which I stated was $280,000 or $281,000 was the estimate by the engineer.
Okay, was that including paving, or is that just the?
I'm sorry, Mr. Graham.
Was the estimate included paving, or just the?
Could you come to the mic, Mr. Graham?
Did that estimate include paving, original estimate, or was that just for drainage?
No, this project includes everything.
So this amount that we got a bid for is drainage and paving?
Yes, it's for the complete project. And also, I would like to say that there's a 10% contingency fee that's built in. So if you take out the 10% contingency fee, then we're right at the estimate
Okay.
that the engineer made for the project.
Well, the program that we did this under, have we determined what we're going to assess the property owners for?
When you said the program that we did it under, what do you?
Didn't we have a,
No, all of that couldn't be taking place because we didn't know exactly what the amounts. Now that we
Now,
know,
I mean,
now that we know what the amounts are, you could look at that amount being split in half, where the city would, let's do my math. That's 100. We'll just say 160,000 will be paid by the city, and 160,000 will be paid by the residents of the neighborhood.
okay. I thought those had to be notified before we put this out for bid.
No,
No.
that is not
Okay,
correct.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Comments on agenda items only?
Nancy Gafford, 4018 Nicole Drive in the old Overton subdivision. And I'd just like to reiterate that having received a bid and then gone back to them, and they offered a savings of over $10,000. That's quite a markdown from the original price. We've waited for 20-something years for this to be completed. To wait on a second bid to possibly endanger what Mr. Bernie spoke about, I think would be ludicrous for us to then have to just start all over once again. You have the support of the neighborhood, and I want to have the support of the council as well. Please help us get our roads and our sewers taken care of. We need it for our safety, and we need it for the value of our homes. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on agenda items only? Yes, ma'am.
Donna Pike, 440 East Ventura Drive. I'm somewhat confused. There's a gentleman that came and bought several dilapidated areas in our city. And the way I see it, he had no accountability to anybody, to the city, to the inspectors. And I'd like to know, when people from another city or another area come and buy dilapidated areas in our city, what accountability do they have? Do they, should we give them a time frame to either improve or tear down the eyesore that is there, or prolong it, as I see that we may have done tonight, give him more time? And I don't know how long he's on the property, but he's bought a house in my neighborhood, and I'm gonna be watching it, because if it's already an eyesore, what is he gonna do with it? That's what I wanna know, because this affects our communities. And what he has it, like he's gonna put up metal buildings. Well, what is he gonna put in those metal buildings? Is that conducive to our community? Is that conducive to be across from our ballpark? So I think these questions need to be answered, and not just let somebody come in here that we've never seen before and start buying up our property.
Well,
I think they should have some accountability.
yeah. Well, one thing, I mean, we can't stop them from buying the property, but we can enforce the code to make sure that they follow the code.
Absolutely.
And that's what
I
we.
thank the inspectors in Brad Dawes so much.
Yes, and that's what they're doing
all the
tonight.
work that they've done.
Right, they're just doing their job, and we would do that job with anybody, but we're here just to be able to enforce the code. We do not want to try to retard growth or people from making purchases, but we do want people to know that once you make those purchases, you have to do something with the property. We're just not going to allow you to let it sit there and to begin to do stuff with it when you feel that it's the proper time to be able to do it. So we're just gonna make sure that we enforce the code.
And, and to sit here and say, well, I guess the best thing to do is just tear it down. Well,
Ms. Pike,
That's
thank you
not
very
rocket
much.
science.
Thank you for your comments. And we will be deciding on those items here momentarily. Any other comments on agenda items only? Agenda items only. Okay? Fair enough. We will go ahead and move into the agenda that is presented. New business. Item number 1 under the consent agenda. I would accept a motion for R95 to reappoint Kim Munford and Tanya Ferguson to the Irondale Public Library.
Make a motion 2021 R95 be accepted.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Councilman Spivey?
Weren't these
Yes,
on
ma'am.
If you
consent?
would like to take the consent items in bulk, you could ask for a motion to approve all consent agenda items.
You know what? I went right back to the top of my page. So, yeah. So that being said, thank you, legal. I appreciate your standing over me there. That being said, we've all agreed, so I would accept a motion to have item number 1, 2, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 moved on consent.
Make a motion that 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 be on consent and move at this time.
All in favor?
Second.
I'm sorry, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. We'll go ahead and address R98, since it was moved down from the consent agenda down to the regular. So at this point, I would take a motion for Resolution 2021 R98 that accepts the bid for road and pipe maintenance for the old Overton Trail subdivision.
Make a motion 2021 R98 be accepted.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No,
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like a second bid, please.
Fair enough. All right, so moving on to item number 1 of new business. And this is an ordinance, so if someone could please help me with the language on this as we move through it.
I make a motion that 2021 R17 be considered read.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right,
Make a motion that all suspending all rules will prevent immediate consideration of ordinance 2021 R17.
all right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Roll call, Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes. And finally, sir?
Make a motion 2021 R17 be approved and adopted.
All right, we have a
Second.
motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. No opposed. That motion carries. This time I'd accept a motion for R101 that declares the property at 2580 Edwards Street a public nuisance.
Make a motion 2021 R101 be accepted.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Second from Councilman Sims. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. R102 declares the property at 1586 Hillside Drive a public nuisance. We have a motion.
Motion 2021 R102 be accepted.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item number 4, Resolution 2021 R103 declares property at 248 Roughner Road a public nuisance. Can we have a motion?
Motion 2021 R103 be accepted.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 104 declares that property 1018 Parish Lane, Irondale, Alabama, a public nuisance. Can we have a motion?
2021 R104 be accepted.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Resolution R105, I'd accept a motion that approves fiscal year 2021-2022 general fund budget.
I make a motion that we postpone Resolution 2021 R-105 to allow me time to speak with the mayor and our city clerk in regards to this budget. I ask that you do it in the spirit of collegiality. There's no rush to approve this bill tonight, this resolution.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
Second. All in favor of the proposed tabling? And now, are you saying, Councilwoman Cuellar, to the next meeting?
Not to the next meeting. We can call a special council meeting and get this done before the end of September.
Legal?
That could still be the next meeting. I would still phrase it that way. And because you could also say to the next regular meeting, which you're not saying. You're just saying to the next meeting.
Yes.
We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor of tabling this motion? Councilman London?
No.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
In the spirit of collegiality, yes.
Thank you.
But I will not table this again.
It won't be tabled again.
Copy. That being said, I'm just taking some notes. Item number 7, that resolution 21R106 approves the 2021-22 capital fund budget.
I make a motion that resolution 2021 R-106 be postponed until our next council meeting, which could be a special council meeting for the fiscal 2021-22 capital fund.
We have a motion for a tabling of item number 7. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Councilman London?
No.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
Yes.
Councilman Sims?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Item number 8, Resolution 107 approves fiscal year 2021-2022 E911 budget, fund budget. I would accept a motion for that passage.
I make a motion that resolution 2021 R-107 be approved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Item number 9, Resolution 2021 R-108 approves the fiscal year 2021-2022 gas tax funds budget. I accept a motion.
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Sims. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 10, Resolution 2021 R-109 approves the fiscal year 2021-2022 Water Department Fund budget.
I
Motion.
make a motion that resolution
Got a motion on the table.
2021-R-109
Councilman
be
Cuellar.
postponed in the spirit of collegiality
Councilman
for our
Cuellar got a
next
motion on the table.
council meeting.
Got a motion on the table. Okay.
Councilman London did introduce his motion first. Councilman London, would you please reiterate your motion?
2021 R-109 be moved.
Okay. He has a motion on that. Do we have a second on item number 10? I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Roll call, Councilman London?
Yes.
Councilwoman Cuellar?
No.
Councilman Sims?
No.
And myself, yes, so that is postponed. Okay.
It actually failed.
Okay, so it'll have to be brought back up at the next meeting by someone who turned it down, correct?
That is correct.
Yes, ma'am.
I could ask for the postponement. Could we redo that? We've done it before.
We would have to rescind that resolution, basically, correct?
There has already been the motion has already been voted on.
Been voted on.
So it could come up at the next meeting.
Okay, at our next special council meeting. Thank you.
Understood. Finally, item number 11, Resolution 2021 R-110 approves fiscal year 2021-2022 court fund budget. Can we have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. That being said, we've moved through our agenda. At this time, we would take public comments to the council on non-agenda items. Any non-agenda items? Yes, sir. Once again, if you could please state your name and your address for the clerk.
My name is Scotty Colson, 5638 Crestwood Boulevard. I'm here on behalf of Jimmy Hill Mission. We sent an invite last week, and we just wanted to come and do a personal invitation to you and the mayor. Jimmy Hill is a member of our Chamber of Commerce. We're in the midst of a lot of changes at Jimmy Hill. It's not your grandparents' Jimmy Hill. We've moved to being a long-term substance abuse counseling program that then gets into continuing care, where all of our clients who come to us spend 4 months in intense counseling. Then at that time, they get jobs. They're getting good jobs at Amazon, at Mercedes and other places. we find them a place to live, we work with them on counseling, and also during their time, they're also, of course, getting their Christian education. It's Christian-based, but it is also based on the science of addiction and also psychology. So we're seeing excellent changes in what we're doing at junior health. We invite y'all on September 30 to come out, have lunch to our campus downtown. We're looking to expand. One of the places that we're looking is Irondale at some point, but it's very early yet. But what we want to do is be a good neighbor and good member of the community wherever we go. And one of the things that we're doing is that we're coming to meetings for places that we're interested in working with and inviting them to see what we're doing at Jimmy Hill Mission. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, sir.
Hope to see y'all.
What's your name again?
Scotty Colson.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other comments on non-agenda items? If there are no more comments on non-agenda items, then I would go ahead and accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone, for coming out this evening. We appreciate your time.